with Minister of Mines and Steel. That's why the NRP is linked to the Nigerian mining strategy. I'm tied at the waist with the Minister of Petroleum. Yes, Minister of Petroleum, I'm tied at the waist with her. Because I need the crude oil. Sorry to stop smiling there. I could see you laughing. And I can see how you're thinking. And I'm not thinking that way. But anyway, I need that because I need the petroleum, I need the crude oil for our integrated petrochemical plant. We have to be, so it's tied to the Nigerian transport policy, the Nigerian power sector reform, because you need electricity and all that. So where are we now? In terms of the progress we've made, of course, is of sectorial policies. We have about 4 or 5 already in place, enablers, legislation, and investment. Let me focus on just a few of them to tell you what we have achieved together. One is on the automobile sector. If you look at the slides, on October, in 2012, we did a lot of consultation, local and international. I was in Korea, I was in Dubai, I was in Egypt, and all that. In February 2013, the Federal Executive Council approved the new auto policy and strategies. 7 days after that, maybe on the 9th of October, 8th of October, no, Federal Executive Council approved it on the 2nd of October. On the 2nd of October, I spoke to Carlos Ghosn, the president of Nissan and Renault. And Carlos told me, look, Shegun, I've been following your policy and all that. We are interested. I will study your policy, and within a week, I will make an announcement if I'm interested in coming to Nigeria. On the 8th of October, Nissan issued a press statement, a global press statement, saying that Nissan will come to Nigeria and start assembling Nissan cars in Nigeria. That is the fastest you could get anywhere when you talk about auto policy. That's within 8 days. In January, Carlos Ghosn met with the president at Davos, committed himself to the change and the fact that he's coming, and we attract some joint venture partners to the country. He promised that the first cars will be rolled out in May. In May, those cars were rolled out. But the cars were launched in May, on the 29th of May. That photograph you see there is a photograph of the key of the first Nissan SUV produced in this country, being presented to the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Dr. Jonathan. In October, Peugeot, we know them, they were one of the pioneers, also started producing their 301. They've moved since then. And of course, more and more OEMs have started producing. Where are we today? You can see this is one of the fastest success any country has had in automobile. Over 22 companies have signed commitments with technical partners to produce assembled cars in Nigeria. You can see the likes of Peugeot, the likes of Honda, the likes of Nissan. Our own dear Innocent Inewe has signed an agreement with 2 Chinese firms that are working with him before the end of this month. I think around the 20-something, I'll be launching his new cars in Inewe. We have, after the likes of Peugeot and all that, we have another group that are already constructing their sites. The likes of Kia, Renault, Jolom. And of course, we have another group that are already at an advanced stage in terms of carrying their feasibility studies. They are very, very advanced. By early next year, some of them and some of the known names will be in the country. Now, it's not just about assembly, it's about also auto parts. Today, I can tell you that there are groups working already on going from iron ore to steel to flash sheets, already because of the auto policy. I can tell you today that there are more people looking at gas, petrochemical to plastic. Innocent today can produce all the plastic you need in any car in this country. And we're going to encourage that. I think the managing director of Bank of Industry was with him last week, and he will attest to that. And of course, rubber to tires. Some people carry out the story that Dunlop went to Ghana. Dunlop never went to Ghana. In fact, Dunlop is looking at how it can now start producing Dunlop tires in Nigeria. That's where we are. So when we compare other policy in terms of where we are in 2011, 2011, we did not have the auto policy. Now we do. The number of auto manufacturers in 2011 were 4. Today, 22. The number of investment that went to the auto sector in 10 years was $62 million. In less than 1 year, we've attracted more than 150 million. And there's about 300 million coming in 2016. The number of automotive test laboratories was nil in 2011. Today, we have 3. The number of universities offering automotive engineering was nil in 2011. Today, we have 4 of them. And of course, we have trained our women mechanics. We're working very closely with them. We went with them to South Africa a few weeks ago because we want to train the auto mechanics to also produce parts that will be used in this country in terms of auto assembly. In terms of where we are in terms of capacity utilization, our capacity utilization has increased by about 40% over the period in terms of manufacturing capacity utilization for automobile. If we move to the next slide, which is now, let me talk about sugar. The inspiration for sugar is Sudan. Sudan started after Nigeria, and this is all about value addition again. We can grow sugarcane in all parts of the country, but we were importing 97% of the sugar we need in this country. How can we be a rich nation if we focus all our money importing sugar into this country? When we can grow sugarcane, we can go from sugarcane to sugar. From the waste of producing sugarcane from sugar, you produce ethanol, you produce animal feed, you produce electricity from the waste of producing sugar. That is what Sudan has done. And today, that sector supports more than 1 million people in Sudan. And Sudan started after Nigeria. That was one of the inspiration for that new policy that came in. So we brought in a new policy also on sugarcane to sugar. And where are we today? Again, we have about $2 billion committed by the Dangote Group. In fact, the Dangote Group have their own sugar master plan. They have hired the best person as the CEO. And you need to go to the sites to see what they're doing there. And over the next 3 years, today they employ 2,401 people in sugar. Over the next 3 years, they will employ 150,000 people because of this policy. Flour mills have invested about 318 million, employing more than 11,000 people. Confluence has invested, or is investing, 600 million in Kogi. We have Crystal Sugar, we have Unicane Industries. We also have small sugarcane producers and sugar producers in states like Oyo, Ogun. The Farmers Union have come together to do small-scale sugar production. In Sokoto, we're seeing the same thing. And of course, in Zamfara, in Kebbi, we're seeing the same thing. So the next slide, I just want to try and copy Mike a little bit. So I have some photographs here. Not as good as yours, but at least there are some photographs here. So you can see this is what it looks like, what they're doing in Adamawa. The next slide. The next slide is what Flour Mills is doing in Sonte. Next slide. So basically, we're saying that when you look at sugarcane to sugar, it's actually very diversified. The major states receive investments because of the sugar policy include Sokoto, Kebbi, Jigawa, Taraba, Kogi State, Kwara State, Niger State, and Lagos State. You can see that most of them are in the northeastern part of the country. And this is what is going to create thousands and thousands of jobs in these places. So again, comparing 2011 to 2014, where were we and where are we today? Is President Goodluck Jonathan actually working? Are his ministers working? Here's the answer again. Did we have a national sugar plan in 2011? No. Now we do. The number of jobs in the sugar industry then, 3,850. Today, we're looking at 180,000 plus. Investment in sugar cane, of course, was about 100 million then. Now we're talking about $3.2 billion. Did we have any research and development sugar cane biofactories? The answer is no. Today we have 2 in Zaria and Ilorin. And we have funds that we have created to support the industry. We did not have any in 2011. Today we have close to about 12 billion